So I have three spaces where I store scrapbooking related stuff, and 4 if you count the boxes up there. But the main space is, so I just came in through the door. The main space is this closet here. And then I have a couple of random things up there that I don't use. I have those two shelves there, the 3rd and 4th. I also use for scrapbooking. And then over here where my desk is, of course, my desk is where I create. And then the 3 bottom drawers have scrapbooking stuff. And this top part here has planner kind of stuff, which I'll get to in a bit. So I'm going to start off with this main area here. And I'm going to try to keep my hand as steady as possible while I do this. So this closet here consists of 3 shelves, and they're, I think, about maybe 10 inches high, the first one and the second one. And then the 3rd one down here is maybe 14 inches. So that one is the only place where I can fit paper, but I didn't know that until recently. And then here I have 3 drawers in which I store some mixed media stuff and cardstock, which I'll get to in greater detail. Okay, so first off, I had my paper in the 2nd drawer. All my paper was thrown in there, but I couldn't find anything. So I moved that, and you'll see that so I have a bunch of Scraproom tours on my channel. So probably the first one, you'll see the paper stored that way. But of course I've since expanded, and also that wasn't working. So I thought I would move it up to this first shelf in the same organized manner that it's here. But it wasn't fitting correctly, I was just getting all squished. So I moved the container that was here that didn't fit in any of the other shelves either, and put it over, sorry guys, where the bookcase is, there, that gray one. And then I put all my paper here. So this is a new system to me. Almost everything is rearranged, so it's going to take some time for me to adjust, but I think it's going to work out better than it did before. So the top shelf there has nothing that it originally had. So before the paper, up there I had kind of random things, and then I moved them. I don't really remember what was there, but now it's all organized. So all of this stuff I used to store over on the shelves in my bookshelf, but some of it isn't really pretty to look at, so I decided to move containers and albums and stuff over there, where they're kind of disguised. They're not really, wow, look at me, I'm scrapbooking related things. I mean, the albums and the layouts that are there are kind of are, but unless you don't know what they are, I don't think they're visible. But anyway, and then the containers are just containers that nobody knows what's in them. So I'm sorry guys, I might have moved the camera there a bit. Okay. So at the top I have, before I zoom in, I'm just trying to keep my hand as steady as possible. Okay, so over here I have memorabilia and photo stuff, and then here I have my essentials container, and in the back I have some markers and pencils. So I'm just gonna go a bit closer and show you what I mean, and I'm going to try and position the camera steadily. So I know you can't see everything, but it's better than it moving constantly, I think. So my memorabilia is currently sorted by trip and everyday thing. So I keep everything in either one of these, it's just it's a, what is it called? It's an A4 page protector that's really cheap though, or in bags that are also memorabilia. So I currently store stuff by trip, so I have the States, Malta, and Paris currently. And I also have a little pocket with everyday things that I have to remember to pull out when I make a layout about a certain story, and sometimes I forget. And for all of these things, well, when I do a trip, I usually remember that I have lots of memorabilia and go through it, but it takes a long time. So what I'm going to do at some point, hopefully soon, is when I I'm currently reorganizing all my photos, both digital and printed, and I want to get them all printed and ready to be scrapbooked. So once all that's done and they're all printed and in their organized system, I'm going to go ahead and organize the memorabilia with the photos that match. So that's mostly for the everyday stuff. Now, if you've been following my channel, you would probably have seen my Rome album like prep video, which if you haven't, it's on my channel. I think it's even in a playlist called Documenting Travels in Rome, but I'm not sure. I'll just Google Rome album and you'll easily find the album. Well, not Google, I mean search my channel. Okay, so enough of that rambling. So what I do with trips that have their separate album, for instance, that would be Rome and Paris at the moment, and Rome is all sorted. So I print all my pictures and I plan the pages I want to make, and then I also add my memorabilia with the specific pictures so I can easily find it and incorporate everything onto the page as I want it to be. So at the moment, none of the other trips are incorporated. And both the States and Malta trip won't have their own album because the States is something we do every year and we visit family, and it's kind of like an everyday kind of thing. It's a special everyday moment. It's like going to the beach, for example, for us. I know that sounds a bit like very fashionable and kind of like I know it should be a big deal. And it is a big deal. It's just if I had an album for every time I went to the States, it would get a bit repetitive, so I just add stuff in my normal album. For example, like when we go to the beach house every year, they're all normal albums. I don't have a separate beach album. So the States just go with that as well, because it's kind of family activities and also with our grandparents and stuff like that. So anyway, I have all trips sorted though, so they're easily, I can access them easily. So that is my plan for all this stuff. And now the reason why I have this Rome guide here is because while I'm working on my album, I might have, I might forget what the place was called or the church or how it's spelled, so I can easily just flip through this and find what I'm looking for. And then I have pictures, both, and this is the folder, like what they arrive from when I get them from the local print shop, which I'm trying to find alternative ways to print things if I do decide not to print at home. I'm not sure if I'm going to print all my photos at home yet. And then I didn't organize these, yikes, sorry guys, because these are travels as I've marked it. So in here are last year's States pictures because I haven't printed this year's, and I think there's one left for a swim meet trip we took. And also Malta, I didn't mention before, is also something I only went for a couple of days with my swim team for a meet, so it wasn't a huge, I don't have a gazillion pictures, so I just make a little insert in my normal album and add it as a, like in the everyday course of life. Because I do my albums chronologically, I don't scrapbook chronologically, but I file my layouts chronologically, and I don't want to have a mismatch of albums everywhere. I want you to be able to see my life as it happens. So for example, I don't want to have travel albums separately from my everyday albums. I want everything to be in a row. So when I have the, like for example, I have an album that's from, let's say, I don't know, June to December of 2016. Right next to that album will be the Paris album, which was in December. So you'll be able to flip through everything and see the way it happened, or the way it occurred. Now I don't do scrapbook for that reason. I mainly scrapbook for the creative outlet, but since I'm doing it, I might as well do it the way I believe will make more sense to me and people in the future. So anyway, moving on. So I also store photos that are everyday photos or not travel. I just put them in this photo album and I can easily flip through and find what I need. Although I haven't printed photos in over a year, so I'm currently printing stuff off my printer to use current photos, but I need to get organized and print stuff out. And then here I have some random photos that I need to put away in the album or in the folder there. I'm going to scooch you over, sorry for my finger there, here, and this is where I have photo related things again, so photo paper basically. So I have this 4x6, yikes, photo paper, and then I have an A4 size photo paper, and then I have 8.5 by 11 paper from Target. And then down here I have some adhesive labels that I can print stuff on. They're really thin though, so I can either use those for school if I want to, but I bought them for printing things on. So for example, if I have a digital version of a sticker set, I can print it on that, and it's like a sticker, even though it's not the best quality. Sorry, I put my finger in front of you again. And I do keep one of these packs downstairs with the printer, because that's in the printer's kind of in the kitchen kind of place, because it's a family printer, so it's stored down there. Anyway, and then back here I have this little jar of bows and stuff that I'm just keeping here because I have nowhere else to put it. Now I'm gonna turn you over right here and show you what's in here. So this is a container, this yellow one, from IKEA. These come in sets of 4, and the lid is separate from the base, so you're the one that has to attach everything. It's really easy to do. So I decided to take one and take the lid off and have all my essentials for scrapbooking. So what I mean by essentials is adhesive, a scissors, and a ruler maybe. So I do have a lot of different types of adhesives, and some are experimental. So I'm going to keep them all in here. So there's one of each kind that I own. I'm going to keep them all in here until they run out, and then I decide if I want to buy it again or not. So for example, the two of my favorites is this Yoo-Hoo Twist and Glue. This one I use a lot, and so is this big white glue. And then this one I bought once. It's meant for children, and it has like a little tip at the top. Now I know we're analyzing glues, and it's not really part of the Scraproom tour, but I might as well let you guys know. You can skip over this part. It has this thing here, and it's not the best glue ever, so I usually use it with a brush for small surfaces until I get rid of it. Again, this is my glue pen, so this is something I also use a lot. And then this one I bought because it has a fine tip, and I did use it a lot, but it's getting a bit, it's not a super fine tip, but it's a good enough size. But it's getting very low on glue, so it doesn't really work that well. So they're all staying in there. But anyway, I'm gonna move on. And then these two pots here, this orange one that I'm holding, and that this kind of it's kind of purple one, are both meant to hold plants, and I got them from Leroy Merlin. And this one has these kind of Copic looking like markers from Target, and the colors that I own them. And there's also a metallic pen in here because I didn't know where else to put it. And then the other one just has coloring pencils for when I want to color something, even though I don't do it that often, or when my sister comes in here and wants to draw or something like that. Oh, and I also forgot to mention I have extra cardstock, leftover cardstock here. Scrap pieces of cardstock for use by anyone if I want to make a list, or if I want to punch something out, or if my sister wants to draw something, I tell her to get something from here, or she can get a full sheet of printer paper if she wants. But anyway, moving on to the second shelf, I'm going to back up and give you an overview. I'm sorry guys, I keep putting my finger in front of the what is it called? The camera. So this one has, okay, my HG gun isn't supposed to be there. I haven't figured out where to put it yet, and since I'm not using it, since I ran out of refills, it's just going to stay there until I figure out where I want to place it, or until I can use it again. And then that other bag is a swag bag from Paper Issues, and I'm going to send that out to somebody, so it's just going to stay there until I manage to do that. Now the second shelf has my basket of embellishments, which is currently missing some because they're on my desk because I'm working on a project. And then I have 6x6 paper pads, that little container with some things in it, and then behind the basket I have punches. So I'm going to zoom in and tell you how this system works in a bit more detail. Okay, so I'm going to, okay, steady again, get rid of this stuff. Okay, so first off to the side, I have 6x6 paper pads that I store. So now I'm going to get into the whole storing paper system that I have. So I know I'm going on a couple of brands, so bear with me guys. I store 6x6 or 6x8 paper pads in these A5 folders, which fit both of those sizes. So I think this is about a 6x8 inch size folder for anyone that's in the States. And I have more paper 6x6s than this, but I don't have. But these are alone. They're like lonely. Okay, guys. Sorry, just knocked over my phone. I will probably edit that out, but just in case I forget, I'm really sorry. Okay, so then 6x6 paper pads. If I only have the paper pad with no matching embellishments, no matching 12x12 papers, no nothing other than the 6x6 paper pad, then it goes in the folder and it stays here with other 6x6 paper pads that don't match anything. So, for example, I currently have this Amy Tangerine one, 2 Amy Tangerine ones, and some are on the verge. There's like only a couple pieces left that I need to use up. And some are almost full, like this one or this one. So if nothing matches, they just stay here. And these are just folders I buy either from the grocery store or from the bookstore, like 30 cents. And then this is just an 8x8 thing that I'm keeping there. So that's how I decide what paper pads go in this section. Now, once one is really low, which is this one is on the verge of being really low. It is low, but I think I can still make a cut, like at least one more page easily out of it. So once I do that, and I have just a couple pieces left, I'll either leave them in here and try to use them up again as a collection, or I'll put them in the scraps folder, or I'll find a collection that matches this and put those in there to try and use up with something else. For example, my scraps folder, this is for the one for 6x6 pads. There's currently scraps from 4 6x6 pads. They're almost used up. I think there's only 3 types actually left. So yeah, I'm trying to go through these as well because this is just scraps. And then another one, and Vintage Bliss, and okay. So these are papers that I don't really like anymore, so I have to figure out what I'm going to do with them. But for the time being, they're in the scraps folder, and I'm hoping I will be able to use them someday. Okay, so after that big rant, over here, I have this little container, which was a party favor, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, maybe 5. No, it wasn't 5, or it could be 5. I think it's about 4. It's 3 or 4 years from 3 or 4 years ago. But I know where my friend got this from. It's from Jumbo. So if you live in where I live and you know what Jumbo is, I have these, and they also have a bigger version of them. But I'm sure you can find similar things in your local, like, I don't know what it's called, like a kind of organized shop or a place that sells these types of things. So there's 3 drawers, so I've reorganized this container as well. And the thing that stays the same is these hearts, because they have, let me get them out here, they have glitter on them, and the glitter gets everywhere, as you can see. So I'm just storing them in their own little container until they're used up, and I can clean this out like 30 times so you get all the glitter out and put something else in there, which I know it's not really the best use of that drawer, but I have space to do it at the moment, so I'm going with it. Then these 2 drawers have clips. So this one has bulldog clips, like these types of clips, and then this one has shaped clips, and I have written down which ones are in here. So there's bikes, there's numbers, there's stars and arrows and hearts. So the numbers that I have left, I've written them down so I don't go looking for one that I don't have, and then I'll just check it off. And then I have 4 bikes, and again, I'll just check off the number if I use one. So that's what's in there. And now behind this basket, so also something I wanted to show you. This basket you can slide it over and you can access the other half of the shelf. So if I want to pull out my punches, I just slide this over and take my punches out. Although this basket will probably already be out because it's something I pull for every layout because it's my embellishment basket. So anything that's sticky is in here. So sticker sheets, sticker books, chipboard waterfall packs, puffy stickers, chipboard stickers, anything that fits in here and has a sticky backing is in this basket. And I just go, I literally just flip through it like this and find what I need. And there's a lot of stuff missing because, as I said, they're on my desk. They're a lot fuller. And the ones that don't fit horizontally, I just store up vertically, and I can just flip through those as well. There are not too many of these yet, so until there are, this system is working fine for me, and I love it. And this basket here is also from IKEA, and I think there were 2 types of colors. Like the inside was maybe black or something, the other one. So I'm going to quickly see if I can find the name of this. There we go. Does it say a name? I don't know. There's information. If you really want to purchase it, just take a screenshot or something of this and search the website. I think you should be able to find it. But it's just a basket, and I love it, and it's perfect. So there's that. And then back here, this box is also from IKEA, and this one's called it's a Samla. I'm not sure if they make these because we've had this anymore, but because we've had them for a long time, and I stole one from the house. And then I just have all my punches thrown in there. I know my basic shape. I just have basic shapes, so I know what's in there, and it's easy for me to flip through and find what I need. But I know what I own at the moment, so if I need a specific punch, I can go and grab it. Okay, so we're at 20 minutes, and we haven't even gone through half of this area, so I'm hoping I can keep this under under a hour, but we shall see. So then we move on to the paper. Okay, there's going to be another rant for this one because a lot of organizing systems in gear here. Okay, so here I keep collection so paper elements. So that includes full collections, like collections with papers with their embellishments. It includes collection packs or my folders. It includes everything that has paper in it and is not one of those. So this is currently separated in 2, and that's just a little snail book holder I stole from my sister's room because she wasn't using it, and everything was toppling over if nothing held them together. So that is what's happening with that. So over here are collections that have both paper and embellishments, and art collection kits. And then over here I got all my collection kits. A collection kit, for anybody that doesn't know, is basically all the papers in a collection and 1 or 2 sticker sheets depending on the manufacturer. So for example, this is by Simple Stories, and it comes with 12 papers. Most of these come with 12 papers. And then 2 sticker sheets, one with like icons and one with letters. And there's a haul video for all of these collection packs on my channel. And for most of the collections over here, there's 7 haul videos that should be right before this Scraproom tour. So go ahead and check them out if you want to see all of this stuff in person, and also some things from up there. So yeah. So over here are collections or kits that I make from my stash, or that I will make in the future. Okay, so I'm going to start over from the collections. Now, when I say a collection, I don't mean a full-on collection with all the papers, all the embellishments, like everything that came out with the collection is what I need specifically. So if I manage to buy a collection, for me that means, ideally, it means a 6x6 paper pad, 3 to 5 full 12 by 12 papers that I can mostly use. Either I can use as backgrounds or I can cut up. Like for example, cut up, I mean cut aparts or fussy cut flowers out of it or something like that. And then a pack of flat embellishments like die cuts or stickers. And then a dimensional set, so that could be anything from chipboard to flare to sequins to enamel dots to anything. Although usually I go for things with icons that there's a lot of in the pack that I can use forever and ever. So I have a couple collections here, but how I'm storing them isn't, like, the full collection isn't there. So I know that doesn't make much sense now, so I'm just gonna go and tell you what's here. So I do have 1 sheet of 12 by 12 chipboard that I keep here because it doesn't fit anywhere else in a alpha set there. And then I have like a Christmas kit with all my Christmas stuff, and then the collection kits start, and then there's scraps, not collection kits, I mean like my collection start, and then They're scraps and stuff like that. So I'm gonna pull out one of the collections and tell you how I store these. So these are Ziploc bags. Let me see which one to pull out for you guys. Okay, I'll pull out this one and this one. And this one, I know that's a lot. Actually, I'll pull out this one here, okay. This one and Better Together. Okay, so I'm gonna put these on the floor so you can see them spread out clearly. So these are 3 examples, and I store them in these Ziploc bags. I think they're 6-gallon ones, and they fit 12 by 12 stuff very nicely. And they're by Hefty, and they have a zipper seal at the, it's not a zipper, but one of those seals that you can open and close. So I'm going to start with a couple of examples. So these are my most completed collections. So sometimes I don't get the chance to get 12 by 12 and 6 by 6, or I don't get the chance to get 2 packs of embellishments. I only get 1. So these here are the ones that are most like really complete for me. And then I'm going to show you one that's not fully completed, but it's pretty close. Because if I only have, okay, I'll get to that in a bit. So first example is this one here. Now all of these bags, there's a little label at the top that says the collection, the designer, and what I own from the collection. So, for example, the clear stickers, the 12 by 12 paper pad, thickers, and cards. And these are written in a different color because I cut apart the cards that were in here. So by that I mean 3x4s, 4x4s, and 4x6s, and put them with my Project Life cards and stuff like that too, so I can easily pull those out for Project Life when I want to make a page. And then the ones that aren't like embellishments that I have for this collection but are not in the bag are highlighted like this one here. And I haven't gone through and done that to everything for the time being, so I have to make sure to go and do that. But I'm going to just start for a second. So this one here has, I have the 12 by 12 paper pad, the sticker sheet, and the thickers. And then these in little Ziploc bags are the cut aparts from this paper pad that weren't the size that I would normally use, that I would use for Project Life. So they're not 4x4, 4x6, or 3x4s. They're just smaller, weird sizes that I'm gonna use for embellishments. So they are stored in these little Ziploc bags, and I can pull them out. And then I'll also, when I want to work with this collection, I pull this bag out, and then I check that what else I have that's not in this bag, and pull it out as well. So that would be the cards in this instance. So that's one of them. I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit shaky again. I'll try and steady my hand. Now this one I have used, as you can see. So I still store all 6x6 paper pads in the A5 folders once they're in the bag, so I can keep all the scraps together. So this one is the Hello Sunshine by Fancy Pants, and again it says that I got the 6x6 paper pad, the ephemera pack, the tags and the labels, and then it says Pool Party, Paradise Found, and Boardwalk, which is the names of the papers that I own in 12x12. And then the ones that are highlighted are the ones that aren't in here. So, how I decided which ones weren't going to be in here. So anything that was die cuts, I moved to my die cut area because I like to have my die cuts open and really easy for me to flip through and find what I need. So when they're in the drawer of my desk, I can open the drawer and flip through them without taking them out. And then I put the ones I selected in a little dish and work with those. So it's much easier for me to do that than to to have them in a little Ziploc bag like that. But I ran out of space, so I don't have those there. So I kind of had to select things that weren't going to be in there, and I think those are the only things. Okay, so then I know that I have those 2 packs in my die cuts, and I can remind myself to pull those out when I pull out this collection, even though I pretty much remember it, but I just want to make sure. So that's another example. Now this one does have embellishments in it as well, so both that one and this one still have embellishments in it. So this one is the Dear Lizzie Happy Place, and I have 2 papers, 2 12x12s, I have a 6x6, and these brads. And then I have the die cuts, and the die cut phrases, and I also have I cut out the cut aparts from the 6x6 and put them in a little area with my die cuts as well. So that's all written in the label up there, so I know what to look for in my die cut drawers, because they're not all in the same place. They're in the same drawer, but they're not in the same area, so you'll see what I mean in a bit. So I just want to make sure that I pull everything out and don't miss anything. And you see the brads, I put them in here because they're on a sheet and I can see them easily. So if I didn't have, so also something I forgot to mention, that basket here that I showed you is for random stuff. And by that I mean random stickers that don't match any of the papers I own. Otherwise they would be together. So if I didn't have the 12, for example, if I only bought this without any of the papers, this would currently be in that basket, but I did buy the papers. Now if I didn't have any 12x12 papers, I would probably add this pack in the A5 folder and put that with my 6x6 paper pads, and then I would remember I have that option as well. Yeah, and if I didn't have the 12x12 papers, for example, for this one, I don't have the 6x6, but if I did have the 6x6 and just the sticker sheets, I will keep those in an A3 size folder and not in this huge Ziploc bag, so it will be easier for me to access. An A3 folder is something of this sort, and here's an example of what I was saying that I'll show you in just a bit. Okay, so that's my rant for that one, and then this one, again, is one that I only have a paper pad and one embellishment pack. I don't have two embellishment packs. So, for example, this one are complete collections for me because I have two embellishment packs. Sorry for my foot there, but this one didn't have any dimensional embellishments that I liked, so I got the two that I loved. And I don't mind if they're flat, because I can always pop them up on foam. And then this one is a full collection. I just wish I had the 6x. I mean, it would be nice to also have the 6x6 and not have the full like all of these in 12x12. I do, because it's an Amy Tangerine collection and I love it. I wouldn't mind having both paper pads, but I wouldn't necessarily buy this because I don't use 12x12s all that often, because I like smaller patterns for layering, and I don't usually use them as backgrounds unless they're backgrounds. And what happens with 12x12 paper pads by American Crafts is they only put the A side, which is the busy side of the paper. So most of those are not usable as backgrounds, for me at least. So anyway, that was that rant. Went on for 10 minutes. We'll return over here, and I try to keep this quick. So again, there's haul videos for all of those as well. And also, again, sorry, I keep forgetting. So once all the 12x12 paper is gone from these, they will be relocated to a different folder to hold them, because otherwise it's just a waste both of space in my closet and waste of the bags, because I only have 12 of them at the time being. So once the 12x12 paper is gone, it will go in a different container. Okay, so here's an example of having just the 6x6, or in this case 6x8 paper pad, and I think there's 3 packs of embellishments, but none 12x12. So they all go in this A3 folder. They could also go in an A4 folder, but because they were getting there's a lot of stuff that's not out of their package yet, and because I didn't do a haul video for this one yet. I bought these when I was in Paris. So this one has another folder in it with the A5, with the paper pad and the A5. And then we have 3 packs of embellishments, and I kept these all together because there's some French sentiments, and then I might just pull this out as a kit for my Paris album. And also, again, I ran out of space in my die cuts, and since this is something I chose to keep all together and not separate the paper from the embellishments, because I do not have any 12x12 anyway. So if I move the papers out of here, this would go up with just the 6x6. It will go up there. And I do like having everything together because since there's French sentiments on here, I probably won't pull these out to use without the coordinating paper. For example, some embellishments that I have in my die cuts, I might pull out to use with a different collection, which is also another reason why I don't store them with their matching paper. So I hope all of this makes sense, guys. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment below and I'll answer it as soon as I can. So because I haven't done a haul video, they're all still in their package, but once they're out, I'm going to put the embellishments in these little Ziploc bags, and these are IKEA versions. So I can just easily dump them out onto my desk, or I can flip through them while they're in the bags, and I can see through and see what's in there. So anyway, so that's what one of these folders are. And then these are collection kits that are pretty much used up, and there's no 12 by 12 paper left, so there's no reason of putting them in something like this. And also their packaging, like the plastic packaging like this one here, got ripped, so it wasn't doing them any good, so they just went in here, which is what will happen to these collections once they're at that point as well, and these two. Okay, and then these okay, I'm trying to keep this quick, so we have 25 minutes left before the hour is up, and I do have time to film more. It's just going to get really long, so I'm going to try and keep it under that. Anyway, okay, so then these are A4 size folders, and this is where I keep A4 size paper, and those are usually paper pads that I get from Tiger, and I think there's one from Frankfurt, and there might be one from Lidl. Yeah, but it's where I keep any A4 size paper, so 8.5 by 11 approximately papers that I own. And I can just show you. These are just folders like these, they're binders, and they can come with pre-plastic inserts. And I can just flip through and see all my papers and how many full sheets and scraps I have, so I don't cut into another sheet when I already have a piece in the size that I want. So I can just flip through and see all the patterns pretty easily. And I have 2 of those currently, and once I don't think I will be buying any more of that size, just because the ones that I haven't seen any recently in a long time at Tiger, and when I go to the States I usually buy 12 by 12, so once I use those they probably won't be used again. But anyway, and then I have a bunch of collection packs. I think there's 6 different collection packs here. I also have this paper pad, and then I have some specialty paper thrown in here to keep it upright. So it's just some vellum pieces and some kind of foiling kind of stuff and so on. And then I have my collection packs in here. So when I want to use something from here, I just pull it out and bring it to my desk and use it. Now, I'll quickly tell you what's going to happen to these once there's no full 12 by 12 sheets left and most of the stickers are used. So, and I'll show you an example. So once there's no 12 by 12s left, and by 12 by 12s, I mean not a piece that has a little square missing. Like when there's like less than half of all of these and they can fit in a different container, they will be moved to a different container. And once the sticker sheets are half used, well, by that point I'm hoping the sticker sheets will be about half used, so I can easily cut them and put those in there as well. So they're all going to go into a folder, either A4 or A3. So for example, this is a Fancy Pants collection, the Happy Place Fancy Pants collection, and there's only like 3 little scrap pieces of paper left. So I do really need to relocate this into an A5 folder, but I haven't done that yet because I'm hoping I'm going to use it up pretty soon. So yeah, and something also that I like to mention, all the cutter parts from all these collection kits and paper pads I pre-cut them, and I put them with my Project Life cards unless they were from 6x6 paper pads. Then they go with the die cuts, or they're kept with the 6x6 pad in a little baggie, but I managed to put them all with the die cuts. Except from the 12x12 Amy Tangerine paper pads that I have with it, which I just showed you a bit, I mean like those. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking about this stuff now. I think I covered everything. Again, if I didn't make myself clear and you have a question, leave me a comment below and I will get to it as soon as possible. And if you didn't really care about that organizational system, I really hope you skipped over it and didn't listen to me ramble a gazillion hours. Okay, so I'm going to get to my mixed media drawers. Before I had all my mixed media in one place, but in one drawer, but that was getting too crowded, so I expanded. And then it's still a bit crowded, but this is a drawer in which I don't use a lot of things from, so it's okay. So in this one I have acrylic paints, I have random, these things are kind of random that shouldn't be in here. And then I have some extra sets of watercolors, but I currently have, I bought a better set after that. So those are my kind of extras. And then I have these stamps here, and in here, what's in there? In here there's extra inks for my, there's ink pads for my stamps that I bought from Tiger. They're not really good ones, they're just good enough for the time being. So that's what's in there. So those is kind of the stuff I don't normally pull for. And then this is my essentials extras. So what I mean by that, all of my mixed media essentials are in a container, in a box on my shelf over there. So I can easily just pull that box out, put it on my desk, and I have everything I need to do a mixed media page. And then if I need something additional, for example, for round of packaging, there's extra packaging here. If I want a roller date stamp, is there. All my stamps that I want, I use most often are there. And things that I use often, but not on every page, are in here. So, what I mean, there's extra packaging, there's some stencils under here that I don't use a lot, but I do use frequently, just not a lot. They're not my favorite of all. This is like my watercolor sampler. There's some chalk pastels back there that I do use often. For example, that one I might use maybe once every 3 months, but acrylics I probably use once every 3 months too, but they're easily accessible here. But for example, these stamps, I think I've used them once in the 2 years that I've owned them. So they're just staying up here until I figure out if I want to keep them or not. So in here, as I said, I have stencils, packaging. I have, in here, there's like, this is another one of those boxes from IKEA. And I'm going to try and open it up without shaking the camera. Okay, there we go. So this one has extras, so there's watercolor refills, there's these empty washi tape rolls that I use on some pages, and these cotton things that I'm going to try a couple techniques with soon. So those are just, again, extras, and I have stuff again in my, they're just extras. Once they run out, I go into this drawer and replace them in my essentials drawer. And then this one, this is just an ink pad that I use all the time, so it's in here because it didn't fit in the other place. And then there's stamps. Again, there's like acrylic stamps here, and then I have some roller date stamps and an extra pack of wet wipes. So that's that second drawer. And then the third drawer is something I rarely pull for. It's cardstock, and it's all 8.5 by it's A4 sized or scraps. So this stack here, it starts at the top with full sheets that I use as backgrounds, and then at the bottom there's sheets that have been cut into, and I will probably use as mats at some point, hopefully. Then over to the side, I have little pieces thrown that I'm going to, if I want to punch something out, I can use these scrap pieces other than going to a full sheet. And then I also pulled out some foam and set it here so it's easily accessible to me when I want to use some foam. And I have a lot more where this came from, and it's mostly scraps from when I did crafts with my mom when I was like 5, so that about 10 years ago, and they're just extras that I recently found. So that's why they're cut into, some of them are cut into, and they're kind of scraps, and I mean, they're not full sheets. So I have a lot more where those came from, and I'll show you where I keep those extras again in a bit. So this is the closet. And we're going to move over to the other areas now, which I think will be much, much faster because there's a lot less stuff in them. Okay, so I'm going to start with this top shelf here, and this is just empty containers that I don't use anymore. So for example, that one had my Christmas present in it, and which was scrappy stuff. So, and it's pretty, so I just put it up there. I used to use that for books at some point, and again, it's pretty, so it's up there. It's not bothering anyone. The same goes with those 2 boxes. So in that first one, I keep extra organizing things. So there's extra boxes from IKEA. There's extra pencil holders. There's just extra stuff that fits in there. So when I do, again, if I reorganize the scrap room again, I know that if I want something more than what I have, I'll look in there first before looking anywhere else. And then this one currently it will stay up there throughout the year and has extra school supplies. And then in here I have a Ziploc bag with all that foam that I showed you, and some inks for the printer downstairs, because if I give them to someone else to keep, they will probably get lost, and when I need them, I won't be able to find them for a month. So they're up there. Now these 2 shelves, the first one, so these are maybe, I think they're 12 inches. There's half an inch maybe sticking out from these albums, but they're longer than 12. They fit really nicely. So here's where I store ongoing albums, projects, and finished stuff. So by that I mean I have my 4 albums here. Now the camera one and the leather one are normal day albums, are full. And then this one is the Rome album I'm working on, and then this one is empty, but I haven't filled that up yet because I want to reorganize all my photos and have them all dated, and then I'll go through and find when all of the photos in these layouts were taken, because I did a really bad job at dating them. So it's going to be a huge undertaking because I have to go through all my layouts. They're not a ton. I only have 2 albums full and like maybe 50 there, so they're not a lot compared to other people. And I have to find, and they're mostly organized at least by 2, like a 2-month period. So for example, March, April are together and stuff like that. They're not completely discombobulated, so other than the new ones. So maybe these here need full reorganization, but up to there, the albums are kind of organized. So once I get all my photos organized and all of the photos dated, I can easily just go through and put these chronologically, separate these chronologically to the T, and then fill my new album there. And then over here I have other projects that I'm working on. So my December daily from 2016, which I'm going to finish. I'm not going to do another one for this year, and I'm just going to work on this one because I'm going to have the Christmas kind of buzz, and I'm going to want to work on Christmas stuff. So I decided I'm just going to use that feeling to finish this one up, because the stories are basically the same, so it's not like I'm going to be losing anything. And then this year's Christmas I'll probably document in 12, make a couple 12 by 12 pages, or I might end up doing another December daily. I don't know. We will see how I feel and how busy I am during that period. And then this is just some random notebooks and some projects I'm working on. So there's a mini album there. This is my old planner that I'm keeping because I'm hoping I can do a planner comparison with my new one. So it's going to stay there until I decide whether or not I'm going to do that, or until I do it. And then these are extra notebooks that I made for Listers Got a List, but I never went through with using them, so I have to figure out what I'm going to do with them. This is a book I'm working on. It's kind of like a project that I'm going to decorate, and it's in one of my haul videos as well, so go check that out. And then these 2 are albums, mini albums. So one of them has, like, when I get new mixed media stuff, I like to experiment with them on 6 by 8 pages. So one of them has 6 by 8 experiments, and the other one has 6 by 8 layouts that are for a mini album about movies and books and TV shows that I like and watch. This one's kind of like when I have extra paint, I just slab it in there, and I haven't figured out what to do with it yet. This is a recipe book that I have to figure out. This is my December daily planning, so I have to get everything organized. And then here I have backgrounds that I made, either 12 by 12 or A4 sized, that I need to use up. So I'm just keeping them in here until I manage to use them. So that's what's on this shelf. Oh, and also extra page protectors that I haven't used yet are stored under this stack of layouts. So I have 2 sets of full 12 by 12s, and then I have a Project Life type A page protector set there. So okay, and then moving down here, this shelf has a couple different things. So there's this container here, there's these 2 containers, and then there's stuff there. So over here, I just stuck these little things in, and these are my cardstock. So I can't easily find 12 by 12 cardstock, so what I do is I buy A3 drawing blocks, and I usually buy the cheap ones, so they're not complete. They're not really thick cardstock, but they work fine for me. So I just cut these down because they are 12 inches high, and if not 12, they're about like 11 and a half, it's fine by me. So I just cut it down so they're also the same size in width. And then so I have that one, which is just the simple one that I normally use, a cheap one. Then when we were at the beach house, I forgot to take that with me, so my mom bought these because they were the only option. And this is kind of like a watercolor paper. So this is a lot thicker, but there's only 15 sheets in here, and it was double the price in this one that had 30 sheets in it. So I don't think I'm not sure. That's kind of like a splurge. It's kind of like a, I don't know what's happening to my voice. It's getting a bit tired, I think. But anyway, it's kind of like a gift. I wouldn't normally buy this. So This only had, so I'm saving this for when I know I'm gonna use a lot of paint or water or something. And then this one is something I thought was like this one a long time ago, but it's not. It's a gouache paper pad. It kind of has like a texture to it, so I might give that to my sister who draws at some point. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Now, on top of this container, this is a container from IKEA. I'm not sure what it's called, and I think there were some other color options as well. At the top, I have a box of thread, and then I have extra Ziploc bags and some lids from some containers in my drawers. And then these are drawers that they pull out very easily in and out of the container. So the first one holds all my alphas. So thickers are in the package they came in, and then loose ones I put in Ziploc bags, and they're just thrown in here. And again, I don't have a huge selection. I know what's in there, so I can easily flip through the stuff, but especially if I know what I'm looking for, I know where to find it, so it's easy for me. And then in here, this is the texture drawer, so this is something new. That one has always been like that ever since I bought this container, but this is something new. And here I have tissue paper, doilies, and I have some fabric and just one piece of vellum. So that's kind of like the texture drawer, and I'm just putting these on the ground because I don't want to waste time putting them back in. And then this is a kind of tools, extras, and ribbon drawer. So there's just a couple pieces of ribbon. I haven't decided if I'm going to keep that yet because I don't use it. I have extra notebooks that I'm either going to do for a giveaway or find some use for them, but for the time being they're being stored in here. And then over here I have extra pens, blades for my trimmer, staples, glues, extra stuff that I don't need to have in my scrap room visible, so whenever, for example, when my Sharpie runs out, I can pull another one. And then I also have my hole puncher and my stapler that are easily accessible for both scrapbooking stuff and school stuff when I need it. And then over here I have more page protectors, and these are my A4 A4 size page protectors, and they came in this little box, and they don't fit well. They get if I put them under here with the rest of the page protectors, my layouts get bent. So I'm just throwing them on top of that box. So I'm gonna kind of just combobulate everything so I can show you guys. But the first box here has random stuff that I kind of haven't decided if I want to keep or if I want to give away or what I'm gonna do with them. Or it's just random things I didn't have another place to do, and I had another place to put them in. And stuff I don't normally use. So this is stuff I use maybe once the whole time I've owned them, and I don't really like them. So they're kind of just staying in here. And then I have bows thrown in here. I have Halloween stuff. I just have to remember to pull this out more. I have some clips. I have some punches, some punched out things, actually, I should say. These butterflies. There's a bit of everything in here. So I've kind of made a rule with myself that maybe once every 3 months so I'm either going to do it once every 3 months or I'm going to do it once every 10 pages, for example. I'm going to pull this out and see if I can use something. Or this is something I usually go through when I'm making stash kits, and I try to incorporate some of these things in my stash kits so I can use them up, because if I have them in a kit, they're easier for me to use. So probably that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to keep those for stash kits. And then these boxes, by the way, these two came in a set. They were for 10 euros, and they were from Lidl, which if you're in Europe, you've probably heard of it. It's kind of like a cheap grocery store kind of thing, which sometimes has these specials like these boxes. And I thought they were cute, so I got them. And I have a little magnetic flap here that just closes. And then in here, I have my mixed media essentials. So for me, that means all of my distressings, a watercolor set that I pull most often, and then I have packaging down here and two stencils that I like. They're new, but I have a feeling they're the ones I'm going to use the most, so I'm keeping them in there. I have some bubble wrap to use that's easily accessible, my gesso. I have a toothbrush for splattering, a palette knife, removable tape to keep stencils down, and this thing, and these just to try some new techniques. And I have a little portable wet wipe set. And yeah, I'm gonna get some brushes in here. Once they're currently wet still, so when they're dry, I'm going to stick them in here so I can have a brush for this. Although I now have a little spritzer thing that sprays water, and I don't even need a brush for the packaging technique anymore, so I'm not sure if I'm going to include them anymore. We'll see. I'll show you what I mean, I'll show you that little spritzer thing in a bit. So that's that shelf, and then over here I have some magazines and a scrapbooking book that I can draw for inspiration. Before they were up here, but this space is really, really tight, so I moved them down there since I had the space. Okay, now moving over to the desk area. Now, it's still not school season. School starts in a week. So I still have the option to store my filming device and keep projects that I'm working on out all day because the desk isn't used for homework. So at the time being, I have that luxury, which is why there's stuff there, but yeah. So my computer is there, and I just use that for homework and like watching TV, and it's just there for computer uses. That's where I organize all my photos as well, but I edit everything on my phone, so it's not used for stuff. But anyway, so on my desk I have, well, basically almost none of this stuff is on my desk normally when it's tidy. When it's a mess, it's a different story. But so as you can see, my very primitive filming technique is there. So I basically got these boxes and stacked them up and duct taped a selfie stick on top, and then I'm using these books as weights because when my phone is in here, this thing kind of topples off. So that's what happens, and then I store this under my desk right there when it's not in use. So yeah, and then this is just stuff, supplies for layout I'm working on. And then this is a mat from IKEA that I got. I think it was for like €5, which may be $6-7. And it's just a mat that cleans off easily, and I haven't cleaned it in a while, but if I do take the time to clean it, it will clean off. And I don't really take care of it all that much because it's $5 and I can always go get another one, so it's okay. Yeah, so I pulled that out for scrapbooking. I mean, I've only had it during the summer. I didn't have it during the school year, so I don't know if I'm gonna move it when I'm not scrapping or if it's just gonna stay there when I do homework or not. I'm not sure. But that is normally on my desk, and neither is scrapbooking supplies. And then over here, so this is the spritzer thing I was telling you about, and it's meant for, it's a travel shower gel thing, but I just put water in it and I spritz it onto the packaging, and it works perfectly. And then I have my little tray, which I pull out embellishments for when I scrap here, and I can use it for other things as well. And this was a present from my grandma. And then here's a container of stuff. So this container is again from Tiger, but I did see a similar one in IKEA, not in IKEA, at Target when I was in the States. So I mean, I think you can find it's supposed to be a makeup organizer. So I think you can find it in a lot of different places. So what I store in here, so I have pens, and I have both pens that I use for scrapbooking and pens that I use for school. So it's both a mix of school supplies and scrapbooking supplies. So over here I have gel pens in all different colors that I theoretically could use for journaling, but I usually don't pull colored ones. But I do love these pens, so I'm just keeping them there, and they look pretty, so that's fine. And then I have my Staedtler pigment liner pens. So this is a new purchase. This is a 0.05 tip. I have the 0.1 tip, the 1.0 tip, and the 0.3 tip of those, so that I keep them in here for scrapbooking. And then I also have some Sharpies in a couple colors, and my black one, which is also good. The Sharpies are good for outlining stuff. This is an ultra fine point, but so is the 1.0 Staedtler pigment liner ink. And I usually either use one of these for journaling. Actually, it's one of these three I might use for journaling or outlining, depending on how strong the outline's going to be. And they write over paint really well, so I like those. And then the Sharpie is a bit thicker, so I don't normally use that for journaling because if I try to write small letters, the ink like mushes on itself and it's not really legible, so I avoid using that for journaling. Something else I use for journaling is this black gel pen. These are from the Outlook collection by Fancy Pants, and I have 3 of these, so that's something I also put for journaling. These also write really nicely over mixed media. And then I have pencils and like normal pens and whiteout and an eraser for school. stuff. Okay, so we're at 59 minutes, so this video is going to go a bit over an hour. The first time around, it went on for 54 minutes, so I've been blabbing more in this one. I don't know why. But these drawers are pretty short, so probably take 5 minutes for me to do. Okay, so in this one I have die cuts in all of them, almost all die cuts. So these containers here are again from IKEA, and they have a lid, as you can see, but again you can easily take it off. And they have these section dividers that are movable. Well, this one here and this one, like this long one, are permanent, and then you can move the sections around. And I store die cuts. So each die cut set has its own little place. So like this is the ephemera pack. This is the tags and I think it's tags and labels from the Fancy Pants collection I showed you earlier. Then I have like another die cut set, more die cuts, and these are cut aparts and die cuts and cut aparts. And this is a random mishmash of wood veneer, flare, and these flags, because I only have a couple pieces of them left, and I have 2 pieces of flare left, so I know what's in there, so I can easily pull it out. And then here I have random die cuts. So again, this is like the scrap die cut area. So once a die cut pack only has a couple of die cuts left, like I mean literally maybe 2 or 3, they get thrown in this place, and I try to use those up from time to time. So that's what's in here. Oh, and back here I do have tags. So this container back here is all the tags that I currently own. So when I want a tag, I can go there and pull something out. And these I can easily pull these out and put them on my desk if I want to. So I'll see, it comes out. And then this one slides forward. So I do have to do that to access the back, which is why I try to put things I don't usually pull for in the back, and things that I do pull for in the front. But I didn't really work completely, because I would have liked these cut aparts to be in the front, but yeah. Okay, trying to not knock the camera over again. Now the second drawer has this type of a container, and this one is also from IKEA. So there's 2 little ones up there, 2 big ones, 2 like medium-sized ones, and then this is like the big one. So in here I store, so in the back again, there's stuff I don't normally pull for. So for example, there's buttons and like glassine bags and a couple of sequins in there. And then this is a kind of collection. So from this Domestic Bliss line, I only got the die cuts and the clear stickers and 1 sheet of paper. Oh, I forgot to show you where I'll put my loose paper. Okay, I'll go back and do that. So that one I promise will be quick. So I have the die cuts and the stickers here. I just kept them together. Like under normal circumstances, if I had the full collection, these, I mean, if I only bought this one, for example, it would go in my random embellishment basket, and if I only bought the die cuts, it would go in a smaller container probably. But yeah, so I'm just keeping them together so I remember to pull them out together. And then that one has random stuff that didn't fit anywhere else, but I know what it is. And then this one has all my cards. So in here there's, I think, there's Project Life cards. There's not too many, though. Most of them are cut aparts from all those collections I showed you before. So when I pull out a collection, I can flip through, find the coordinating cut aparts and pull them out. Or when I'm doing a Project Life spread and I want to use, let's say, I don't know, the Sunshine and Happiness cut aparts for cards, I can also pull out the Sunshine and Happiness collection and use the embellishments for that as well, or cut another piece of paper. So that's in here, and I also store my trimmer for the time being. It's not the best place to store it, but I haven't figured out where else to put it yet. And then the bottom drawer has another one of those containers, and this one is stuff I rarely pull, mostly. For example, I do pull my washi tape, so because I know it's there, I know it's there, so I do pull this. And I can easily pull this out and use my washi tape. But the other stuff is stuff I don't normally use. So these are things I rarely use. This is more washi tape, by the way. So all the rolls that fit here, I put them in here. And then these are just a couple of extras that didn't fit. And then these are barely used. Those I barely use. And this is a die cut set that I want to use up. So ideally, I would have put it either somewhere in here. But I keep all my new stuff in here at the time being. Most of these are new, so Ideally, I think a die cut set would have been somewhere in here. So actually, now that I think of it, I might trade, I'll trade the buttons out for that and put the die cut set there and the buttons down here. And then over here, just keep some random notebooks. I didn't have any place else to put, because I had the space and it was just kind of a waste. So, okay, that's it. I just want to show you where I keep my loose paper. So over here in the collections, there's a little baggie, if I can find it, with loose paper. Is this it? There we go. So I have another one of those Ziploc bags, and this is all my loose paper sheets. I only have 10, and this is a new thing. I never had loose pieces of paper. So there's just some loose pieces of paper that don't go in a collection, but I know they're there. So actually, I'm gonna just put you up here on the filming set, and I'll quickly show you. So I just opened this up, and there's random papers that I don't have any other paper from the same collection or any embellishments to match. So these are all in haul videos again as well. So see, I have these papers, and these are those thin papers from American Crafts that you get at Joann's, which I love. I really wish I would have gotten more of those. So there's random papers that I don't have anything else to go with. When I'm looking for something extra to add to a page, I can always pull this. And then these are papers I bought from the local scrapbook store that I just loose papers that I love. So I can easily just flip through and find stuff. So the only paper in here that has embellishments is this one, but I didn't put them together because it's pointless. I mean, this paper is a neutral and doesn't match the theme of the embellishments. So it's the same color scheme though, so I might pull it out to use with the embellishments. And I know it's there, so I'm just keeping it in mind when I pull out either the embellishments or when I pull out the paper, I can also pull out the embellishments. But the embellishments are very themed for household kind of things, so there's a chance I won't use them together. So that's where I keep my loose paper. I'll give you a little sneak peek of a layout I'm working on since you stayed for an hour and watched my Scraproom tour. So here's a little sneak peek. I'm still working on it. This is kind of like the base, and I know it's pretty empty. I have to figure out what to do with it. And this one also doesn't have a process video, so this might be the only chance I'll get to see it, although I probably have a layout share. And then these are 2 pages I've made recently, and there will be process videos for them by probably, I don't know if it's the beginning or the end of September, we'll see. And these are just a couple of pages that I made, so here's a little sneak peek, and they will all be posted both on Instagram, and the process videos will be on YouTube, for these 2 at least. This one doesn't have a process video, but it will be shared on Instagram. So thanks for watching. I'm sorry for all my random rants, but I hope you got some ideas for your craft room, or at least enjoyed watching me ramble a bit. So if you have any questions at all, leave me a comment below and I'll answer them as soon as I can. If you have a question about where I got a product, either as like a sticker sheet, or like that you saw in my basket or something, or if it's a container that if you want to know more details about it, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to find a link for it for you guys. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.